many people want to lose a few percentages of body fat. Why is it that protein is so critical to that process? Why is it that indeed calories in versus calories out reigns true, law of thermodynamics, but that protein is so crucial?
In the majority of the literature, when you compare animal versus plant proteins head to head, you see greater muscle protein synthesis. The big thing about protein and body comp is, number one, protein directly supports lean body mass. It directly supports all the lean tissues in the body, skeletal muscle especially. And skeletal muscle is basically our metabolic engine that we can control. It manages our body's fuel use, and so it's super critical to support skeletal muscle. Protein does that directly. And protein is more satiating than carbohydrate and fat. And so it's the most satiating macronutrient. The third little detail, well, it's got the highest cost of metabolism or cost of processing within the body. So it's the most energetically or calorically expensive macronutrient to process within the body. So it has a higher so-called thermic effect. And so those are basically the three main reasons why protein is so critical to things like body comp improvement, high quality weight loss, fat loss.
What about the hierarchy of protein quality? I think of protein quality in terms of quality of protein, meaning the type and ratios of amino acids, the availability of those amino acids relative to the amount of calories one has to ingest to get them. Because frankly, I've grown tired and slightly irritated at these plant-based foods have a ton of quality protein in them. And I go, really? You have to consume 2,000 calories of that plant or grain in order to get the equivalent amino acid profile from, a 4-ounce piece of steak, for instance. And this is not an argument that animal proteins are better ethically. I'm just saying at a quality as a function of calories ingested, I feel like animal proteins are superior. But tell me what the data say.
Gram for gram. As a group, animal proteins are higher quality. They're more anabolic. They have a higher proportion of essential amino acids. They have a higher amount and proportion of the most anabolic driving amino acids, the branched chain amino acids, leucine specifically. And in the majority of the literature, when you compare animal versus plant proteins head to head, you see greater muscle protein synthesis. So there have been a lot of studies comparing animal versus plant proteins. And interestingly, so the animal proteins do have the edge in that department, and that's been reported in a couple meta-analyses now. One of them compared whey and soy and didn't find a staggering difference between the two anabolically, so we can call soy actually a high-quality protein. There are two studies now that compared and this is what's been missing from the literature. Usually we take two groups of omnivores and we supplement them with, let's say, whey protein, and then we supplement the other group with some sort of a plant protein.
Like pea protein.
Yeah, pea protein. Okay, so the interesting part, we finally have studies where we're looking at completely vegan regimen, a group who's totally vegan, no animal products at all in the diet, versus an omnivore group. Put them on a resistance training regimen, 12 weeks. This was done by Lorraine and colleagues. This was like a few years back. And so they optimized protein, or at least made it at the bottom of optimal, at 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight per day in both groups. Okay, and so, but the unique thing about this study, it was the first time ever we're comparing vegans with omnivores. So there were no significant differences between groups in muscle size and strength gains by the end of 12 weeks where they were put on a progressive resistance training program.
It was isocaloric? So both
isocaloric.
Groups, total number of calories ingested per day, same in the vegan versus omnivore group.
Yes, that's right. Isocaloric, isomacronutritional, isoproteic, everything is equated between the groups macronutrition-wise. No significant differences in the size and strength gains. And they're suspecting, and by the way, the vegan group, their protein intake was boosted up to 1.6 grams per kilo or 0.7 grams per pound. It was boosted up by soy protein supplementation. So apparently, I mean, we're beginning to see that at a dose, a total daily protein at 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight, the totally vegan group was able to hang in there against the omnivore group for muscle size and strength gains, at least within the conditions of the study, and at least for those 12 weeks, and at least for the subjects that were used, who weren't necessarily, these high-level athletes or.
So if you construct it properly, you can follow a vegan diet as long as you get 0.7 grams per pound of body weight.
And the weird thing, man, is the vegan diet overall had significantly less essential amino acid content and significantly less branched chain amino acid content. But apparently, the resistance training stimulus is robust enough to make protein effects almost secondary.